It's another lady of the house kind of day, and today we are discussing organizing the bedroom. Welcome back, ladies, and welcome to another masterclass in this lady of the house method. Today we are going to be organizing the bedroom and just talking about really my idea of organizing and the things that are important to me and just what I have found really works. And I know that we are all different when it comes to organizing things and what kind of things may be overwhelming. What is our clutter cap? All of that. So I am just going to share with you what I know has worked for me, and maybe you might get some ideas. Maybe you might be able to implement some of these things into your own life, and you will see a really big difference. If you are struggling in the area of organization, just know that I am not. No, I'm just kidding. It's not an area that I've ever really struggled in. So if you are looking to really figure some of this out, sometimes it's good to go to people who have learned tips and tricks along the way to be able to better themselves. But other times I think that it's really good to get an inside look at the mind of a more organized person, what really does work well for them. And so that's really what I hope to help you with today, especially if this is something that you struggle with. But even if you are a more organized person, sometimes we just may not feel very creative when it comes to these different things. But this is an area that I absolutely love, and I feel that I spend so much time thinking about, because when things and spaces are not organized, then it really brings me down. It makes me feel overwhelmed, and I am just not a happy person. So I definitely like to have organization around me. And so that is how I have made my home, is to be very well organized. I make sure that my spaces are they function well for me. They look beautiful as well, because I want to be home. I want to be in those spaces. And I think that that is a really big part of organizing, is making sure that it's useful for you, that you are actually going to use the things instead of just having these spaces packed full of things. It can look beautiful, like, just the way that you see in the magazines. But if they aren't things that you are actually going to use, if it's not something that is accessible for you, then you might not end up using them. You might end up forgetting about them, things like that. So we will discuss that today. Before I begin, though, I wanted to share with you that we are going to be going through the whole organizing spaces based off of my printable, which you are able to find over on Patreon, and it is free to anybody to print. So this is the Lady of the House Housekeeping and the Everyday Printable, which just has really, like, it's an icon based housekeeping and the everyday checklist. And it breaks it down into days of the week. And so that's really how I'm going to be sharing these spaces with you this week. We are only going to be going Monday through Friday. And for Thursday, which is my grocery shopping day, I am going to allow you to choose, or vote really, on which space you would like me to cover this week. It can either be the utility room, because the utility room lands on Monday, which is today, the day that we would also clean the bedroom. So it's going to be between the utility room and then the office. So the office lands on Wednesday, which is the day to clean the kitchen as well. So those are days that I really want to focus on these spaces that we can really allow to get out of hand very quickly. So the bedroom and the kitchen, these are spaces that I just want to take up a whole day discussing those. And then on Thursday, please vote in the comments below. Would you rather me discuss the utility room and organization in that way, or the office, stationery, stuff like that. So office or utility room, please let me know that in the comments below. And then also, along with your Lady of the House housekeeping and the everyday method checklist, I also offer a beautiful shopping list, which has it broken up into sections: protein, produce, dairy, and pantry, and then sundries for all of the extra things. So that again is over on Patreon. And if you're not a patron, I really hope that you would consider subscribing over there, because it really does help support this channel and inspires me to continue creating over here. Without further ado, let's get into discussing organization in the bedroom. So many years ago, women really had their dressing tables in their bedrooms, and this space acted as a place to house a lot of things that we now end up seeing in the bathroom. So I'm going to talk about a few different areas, a few key areas in our bedrooms that we might want to organize. Some of these spaces you might not have, though, within your own bedroom, just because I know they're not as common today as they were in the past. However, I have found them to be so much more useful. There's so much wisdom with the past and what ladies did before. So I would also encourage you to consider that. So let's talk about the dressing table, because for many of us ladies, we do like to get ready every single day within our room, and it's a great place to just sit down and kind of relax to get ready and enjoy that time getting ready, which really, that's what all of this comes down to me, is creating a space. And the sun is coming in and out, from behind the clouds. So it is going to get really bright, and I'm just not going to stop the video to, worry about all of that. So I apologize if it gets way blown out over here. So having a dressing table has really made a big difference in my life when it comes to getting ready and just enjoying the process of getting ready. Now, as far as organization goes, I like to make sure that I only have the things that I am going to be using to get ready. I have seen so many bathrooms just completely overrun with products. And the same can happen with our dressing table too. But when we come into our bedroom, we really want to have that restful, relaxing space to be in. And so to make sure to do that, you might want to consider how many things you have out, how many things are on display in your room. So whether this is a dresser for you, if you have a mirrored dresser, you might want to consider how many things do you have on the top, and are they things that you use every single day? So that's really what I like to display on my dressing table, are the things that I do use every day. And I definitely do not like having products and the names of the products and everything like that. Although I will make a little correction here, because I do have my hairspray sitting out on my dressing table. But I feel that it looks pretty on there because of the coloring. And I am one that will definitely go off of coloring and packaging. So whoever does the packaging, that, you can really gain a buyer just based off of the packaging, because you have one in me. It may not be the best hairspray, but it looks beautiful on my dressing table. So no, I am happy with my hairspray, but that's besides the point. I really believe in decanting items, because it makes the process of getting ready more enjoyable. And because these are items that I use every day, those things are not looking like a lot of clutter on those spaces that I use every day, and the things that I want to keep out on my space. To me, it's okay to have some beautiful things set out, and I love when form and function go together. So those items that are beautifully packaged, and then the function of those items, I'm using them every day. But I'm not going to crowd up my space with items that I may get to at some point, or, just things. I just want them to be the things that I use every day. But I like to use beautiful jars to decant different things within that space or on top of that space. And then I have a few drawers here that I also only put the makeup that I use every single day. So that has been the biggest change from when I was a lot younger, when I had maybe a lot of different things that I would try out, or maybe something didn't work. After a while, I might have ended up keeping some of those things within my space. But now I go through my space frequently. If something didn't work out for me, I end up getting rid of it. I end up asking one of my girls if they would like it. It's just one of those things that it doesn't make sense to clutter up your space with those things that you don't use on a day-to-day basis. So keeping your dressing table nice, clutter-free, looking beautiful, and only with those things that you use every day, I think that will make this space go a long way, because you will enjoy sitting there. You're not going to be as overwhelmed in that space. Now, another thing that we do within our bedroom, of course, is to sleep. And some of us have linen cabinets for all of our linens and our bedding, and some of us do not. We have to get a little bit more creative. So over the years, I've had to get creative with this because I haven't always had a space for my linens. But something that I make sure to do is to only have one extra sheet on hand for this bed right here. I don't want to have too many linens that I'm really not using. But the only thing that I would have more of would be the pillowcases, because I do change those out more frequently. So at one point I was storing my bedding underneath my bed, just underneath the mattress, because I could just lay it out nicely, and then I wouldn't have to worry about needing to have an extra space to store those items. But now what I do is I have an armoire within my bedroom, which I believe armoires are one of the best things that you can have within your bedroom. I think that they're better than dressers, really, especially when your armoire it has drawers within it, and then you can open it up, you can close it. It's just a beautiful, functional, timeless piece, in my opinion. So I really love this armoire that my mother gifted me, and it was secondhand. I think we found it on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, something like that, and I just love this piece. I think that having spaces that, with drawers and with cabinets, all of those things that we can just close them behind, really cuts down on a lot of the clutter. But making sure that you have only those things that you use and need is also the key to making sure that you do not overwhelm your space with too many things. So being honest with ourselves about, what items do we really use, and going through those things from time to time, multiple times in a year, I think is a great way to keep the clutter at bay, but then to also make sure that those spaces that we have, that we are going to be using that valuable real estate, it's being used well and it's serving us well. So I like to use my armoire as a place right now to house all of my bedding, that, those extra sheets that I need to use every single week, because I change my bedding once a week, and it's just nice to have that dedicated space for my linens. And then I'm happy opening up my armoire because there is a specific place for it. It looks beautiful. The way that I make sure to fold those items so I care for them and they look like there is a purpose behind them, that makes a big difference, especially in organizing. So this is a wonderful way to organize. Even if some people put their sheets on display. I know that my sister-in-law, they have a curio cabinet within their bedroom, and it's all glass. She has some baskets in there to kind of conceal some things like the bigger blankets. But then they have their, I don't know why I can't think right now. They have their sheets beautifully displayed in there. It's lit up. It's like a piece of artwork, right? And that's something that we can do with different things. So I have done that over the years as well. So you might go back through some of my videos just to see some of the different ways that I have organized my spaces and using different furniture for that. So maybe you're lacking space when it comes to linen cabinets, for instance. That's okay, because if you have a free wall, maybe you can get yourself a curio cabinet, or you can get yourself an armoire, and you can use that for those kind of things. And then for myself, this armoire also acts as a place that I can house all of my undergarments, all of my slips and socks and just everything like that, nightgowns. And I also use a drawer to organize some of my clutches and purses. And then there's an empty space on the top in there, and that is a place that I end up putting a lot of my purses right now. I used to put them in my wardrobe over there in my dressing room. But, you know, from time to time, I change things around. So I'm not sitting here saying there's one right place to put everything. But make sure that you are utilizing the space that you have in a way that looks beautiful to you, that maybe if something looks overwhelming, you can always add a basket, for instance, and put things in there. That way it cuts down on the visual clutter. Or for myself with these doors, it just makes it so nice to be able to close them, and now they are tucked away. But also for myself, the coloring on things matters as well. And I also like how the colors that I use in purses, or the ones that I display anyway, they really do fit in with the color scheme that I have going on. Nothing stands out too much. It's just pleasing to the eye. So making sure when you stand back and you look at that space, does it look pleasing to your eye? Do you not feel overwhelmed when you look at it? These are things to think about and to ask yourself, because oftentimes I've noticed when I walk into a space, if it's just overloaded with things, or I can just see too many things, then it makes me feel as if I have too many things. However, this might not always be the case. We may in fact be using all of these different things, but how are we displaying it, or how are we tucking those things away to where we can actually feel at peace when we look in that space? Now, another thing to consider are our nightstands and having a place to put all of those little things. Sometimes our nightstands can get kind of messy, right? And then we want to go through them from time to time, making sure just to keep those things in there that we use. This is something that I think when we organize that space, we can often put things in there that we may hope to use or that we think we will use. But going through them from time to time, just making sure that we're indeed using those things, can really free up a lot of space. And we will see that we really don't need to put much in that area. Now, if you are short on space, this may be an area that you do store some things. I've heard of many ladies storing their undergarments in their nightstand because they don't have a dresser or they don't have an armoire. And that's okay. We get creative with our spaces. There is no one size fits all. There is no right way, wrong way. It's just, is it working out for you? Now, another space that we like to consider is where we put our jewelry. Jewelry is not something that is well kept in a bathroom, for instance, because that's where there's a lot of humidity. You want to keep those kind of pieces away from the bathroom. So the bedroom is a wonderful place to keep these items. Sometimes we have them on our dresser, within our dresser. It really just depends how you want to display it. I have a jewelry cabinet that I have been using, and for a time I did have it in my bathroom, but it wasn't really a bathroom that got a lot of humidity because I didn't take showers in there. But I have since moved it out into my bedroom area. And so this houses a lot of different things. I ended up getting very creative with this jewelry cabinet because I really don't have a lot of jewelry the way that maybe when someone had a jewelry cabinet that they used them for. So I also use this cabinet for many other things. I keep just some extra makeup in there that maybe I wasn't using, maybe extras of makeup that I wanted to have on hand. So my bottom drawer is dedicated to all of that extra makeup. And then I have a drawer that has all kinds of hair utensils, hair brushes, hair serums, different things like that that I use on a day-to-day basis and that I don't really have space for in my dressing table. So this is one of the ways that I get a little bit more creative with that space or with my space in general. I don't need to have everything that I use to get ready all in one place because I get ready in different places. I do different things in all of these different spaces. And so that's a good thing to consider as well. Do not lock yourself into believing that you have to do everything all in one space. For instance, after I shower, one of the things that I like to do is to put some spray on my hair, stand there, put my deodorant on, brush my hair, all of that. And I do that at that little jewelry cabinet because that's a great place for me to put all of those little things in there that, number one, I can't decant those items. And it just is a great place for me to be able to tuck them away when I'm done. And so just consider these different places that you could get ready in, but you don't have to overwhelm one space with all of these different items. So that's something that I like to use that little drawer for in there. And then I also brush my hair right there as well. So it just acts as a little getting ready station, but it's not my only station to do so. Now I also have a drawer in there that is divided into different things. So I thought, well, this would be a great place to put all of those little things, like the little rubber bands, the little, like clips and all the things that I want to organize in a way where I open it up. One of my girls asks where something is. Everybody knows where the things are. They're in this jewelry cabinet right here, and how I utilize all of these drawers for different things. So think outside the box a little bit when it comes to organization. I love to use furniture as places to store and to just organize, really break things down into organized spaces that may not be your typical way of organizing things. But yet, when you look back, you come into my room, you step back and you have just no idea all of the different things that I keep in these spaces, but they function well, they look beautiful, and that's all that really matters. I actually use those spaces and the things that are within them. So then I also have, of course, my jewelry and all the different things that I like to break up and organize in there as well. But for myself, maybe you might notice this in a lot of my videos, I tend to wear the same things a lot, especially when it comes to jewelry. The lighting is really getting the best of us today. That's all I have to say. Going through these items frequently can help free up some space from time to time. So even with jewelry, sometimes there's that jewelry that's more like costume jewelry. Maybe, it's seen better days. So sometimes go through those things, but also having a space to organize these different things so you're not searching for something. Earrings, for instance. I've gone through different phases. sometimes I really organized my earrings well. Other times I just put them all together. And what I noticed when I did that was that I was spending way too much time searching for an earring. So I like this jewelry cabinet because it has all of the little different spaces, all of the different cubbies in there where I can separate all of my earrings and not waste time searching for different things. So that is a wonderful thing about having an actual jewelry cabinet, which those are easy to come by at any antique shop, I feel, anything like that. And then another thing that I like to have on hand and that I have been using even within my bedroom, although I change this from time to time, going into the bathroom, going into the bedroom, it just depends where I have a good space to put this. Q-tips and cotton balls. These are things that everybody in the family likes to use. And so having just a little area where everybody can access it, I think is good. For right now, I have it on top of that jewelry cabinet. It's kind of like a low cabinet, so sometimes it's a little weird to try to figure out what to put on top of something, but for now, it's in a beautiful glass jar. Both of them are, and so one of them's actually in a butter dish, and that's where I laid out all of those Q-tips. I like to have that in there, and then, of course, all of the cotton balls. So figuring out all of these different things that you can use to decant but still make the space look beautiful, making it to where you're not stuffing things in different places, but you have it accessible for you and you enjoy using those things and reaching for those things. This makes a big difference and it just looks beautiful. And then it's well organized too. Everybody knows where to go for the cotton balls. They know where to go for the Q-tips. So that is something to consider. Now let's talk about one of the most important things that can end up making everything within your room feel as if it's in chaos and just not organized. And that is all of the clothing. Do you have a space adequate for the amount of clothing that you have? The amount of clothing that you actually use, the amount of clothing that you really need. I don't want to say need because I feel that most of us have way more than we really need. But then you can manage your cap when it comes to clothing management. Make sure that you only have so much space, right, to be able to organize in when it comes to your clothing. So do not try to overwhelm that space with too much to where you're really stuffing things in there. You don't even know what you have because you are just a clothes horse or whatever it is, that you are just stuffing things in different places because you want to have all the things. Consider how much you have. Get rid of those things that they're not serving you well. You don't reach for those things. They have holes. They look bad. They're just not beautiful. Okay? Get rid of those things first and foremost. And then you can organize. Then you can, once everything's decluttered that you're not using and that you don't love, then you are able to really organize your space. So if this is an area that you're struggling with, I would encourage you to do that today. Get all of your clothes, put them on your bed, stand there and ask yourself if that item is beautiful to you, if you feel good in it, if it fits you properly, and if you actually are going to be using that item. And the rest, donate to someone else who would actually enjoy it, would use it, or sell it on Poshmark. Like I like to go through my clothes frequently because I love to share with especially my viewers. And if you are interested in purchasing any of my dresses, please go to my Poshmark closet, which I have linked below. But really, go through those items because really just having those things that we can manage makes the biggest difference. I guarantee it. If you feel overwhelmed with the amount of clothes that you have, then don't feel like you need to keep all those things because you don't. We really don't need much. And however, I will say that there are those of us that really do enjoy dressing. It's such a part of just the way that we communicate to other people, the way that we feel good about, just day-to-day living, that we bring that out in the way that we dress every single day. That's how I feel. I feel that it's a wonderful way to cheer people up. It's a wonderful way to cheer myself up. It's also part of what I do on a day-to-day basis and sharing with all of you. So things are different. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you need this many dresses and you need this many items in your wardrobe. I can't say that because I'm not you. And I feel completely different. I know that about certain things than the next lady would. So it's really up to each individual, but ask yourself those questions and it will lead you in the right direction. And then most importantly, after we've answered those questions, how much space do we actually have? So I have a much smaller closet, if you will. I have a smaller wardrobe than a lot of people have, or that I've seen, okay? Because I know that a lot of people do have small closets. But let's just say this day and age with all of the walk-in closets, you're talking about master bedrooms here. Walk-in closets are usually a staple in a master bedroom. So I don't have a walk-in closet. I mean, we kind of created one, but we use wardrobes, which are from IKEA, and these have served us really well, I might add. I like the breakup of this wardrobe because I have a little section that I don't have to see the rest of, the main section when I open it. And that works out well for me because I like things hidden away. I like drawers and little cabinets in behind drawers and cabinets. It's a weird thing. I just want to be able to open something and only see this or that. And so that's a big reason why you see the way that I organize things. I like to hide things. I don't like to have to see everything all at once. So I definitely will pick up some of those decorative boxes, which I think that they have such beautiful ones out now. And even in the wrapping paper section, you can find storage containers. My boxes in there, I got that from Target. It's by Sugar Paper. Those are gift boxes that I use to conceal different things, to break things down into different sections. So you can do this in many different ways. It doesn't just have to be you going to the Container Store and things being specifically for a closet. You can actually use a lot of different things. I use stationery boxes that I've gotten different cards in to organize my socks, to organize, my panty liners, to organize, just anything like that. You can break things down into different sections using these different boxes, and it doesn't have to be what it was originally for. And that's really what it comes down to for me, especially with a small closet. So I do have some fabric covered bins, which eventually I'd like to switch out just because I don't like the whole look of them within my dressing room. But they are serving me well for now, and I'm using them. I've had them for years. I found those at IKEA as well. And I like to store off-season clothes in there. I don't want to see all of the clothes that I have. I don't want to have to sift through the items that I'm not able to currently wear. So I am a big advocate for packing away clothing that you are not currently wearing. And I'm not even saying don't keep the things that you may slim down into, or if you need to gain some weight for. I'm not even saying that. There are some things that we do want to keep because maybe our future self will be able to wear them at some point. Maybe we have some great goals and, we are not going to just get rid of everything that we couldn't currently wear. So, I even have a bin for that because, there are some things that I'm not ready to get rid of yet. I'm not ready to give up on that yet. And that's okay. But making sure that you limit yourself to those kind of things. You only have so much space. So I've given myself one bin for that. And then the rest of the bins are for off season. And then I also have 2 bins of clothing that I'm selling that are it's in my Poshmark closet. I didn't want those clothes to end up out in the garage, getting different smells or just getting dusty or anything like that. So I have a dedicated space for that, but that's something that I really keep on top of. So if this is not an area that you like to focus on, don't waste your space, your valuable real estate or your time with those kind of things. So know yourself. Okay, and know what you are capable of, know what is just too much for you, and what you just don't even want to have to deal with in the first place. But when it comes to our wardrobes, making sure that this space is beautifully organized will make the difference in whether or not you are going to wear those items. Believe me. Set your wardrobe up, set this whole space up. Any of these spaces, but especially your wardrobe, set it up in a way that you feel as if you can just go shopping within your wardrobe, within your closet. Because how many of us just want to go shopping, and we're not wearing the things that we already have, right? It's all about merchandising. This is something that all of the stores know, all of the merchandisers know. If it's done in a beautiful way, it will be more or less the people that come into the store, they will want it. So merchandise your own wardrobe for the way that you love to see it, the way that it will make you feel like reaching for those things. And I'm going to end with this. A lot of it has to do with color. Know the colors that work well for you. Know the colors that you love to see on a day-to-day basis. And this will make the biggest difference in whether or not you will be happy to walk into your wardrobe, walk into your closet, and pull items from there. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope that some of these things helped you out in some way. They inspired you. Please let me know in the comments below, what is the biggest thing that you struggle with when it comes to organizing your bedroom? I didn't even get into organizing anything for him because he has his own space, but the same thing holds true, right? He has all of those areas as well. And then some. He has a whole other closet that I don't even have. But making sure that we all have enough space for all of these items makes a big difference. And then also paring things back to only those things that we use. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.